I think we've lost Lou already.
Yeah, I can see
I'm
that.
still here, but I'm stuck in. Oh,
there you are. He's
okay,
alive.
that was weird. Right,
Stars.
well, sorry. The first 20 seconds of that stream is going to be me staring gormlessly at the screen, but yeah. Hello, how are we all? Welcome to the LC transfer room. Apologies for the brief delay there at the beginning. I don't know what happened then. I just heard people saying that I was lost, but no, here I am. We've got plenty to discuss, so please, everyone, make sure you tune in. Make sure you're sharing the link around. Repost, like, subscribe, all that good things. Apparently, there's a bad echo. Is that me? I think it is me, actually. Let me just. 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. Is it me? Oh, good. Oh, good. But yeah, plenty to go through, guys. Plenty to talk about. And if you're new around here, please, everyone, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons for more content. We're over 10k now, but we want to keep it going. Everyone just needs to get involved. And yeah, I'm joined today by Sam, Clem, and Dean. Sam, how are we getting on? All good?
We are all good, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm good. You know what? I appreciate that. That everyone normally just goes, "Yeah, I'm good," and no one even bothers to ask. Yeah, Dean, I'm looking at you. Clem, all good? How are we getting on?
Doing really well. Thanks, Lou, Sam, Dean. Great to be here and look forward to talking for the next hour or so.
Yeah, nice and chill. We'll go on for about an hour, guys. Probably end around 8:30. That's how they normally do. Yeah, everyone, please make sure you all get involved. Say hi to Sam and Clem for me. Brand new members here on the channel. I'm sure, really looking forward to hearing what they've got to say. Dean, how are you getting on?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Just waiting for the next game. Still getting over, obviously, a couple of days ago, obviously. But
Yeah.
already thrown straight into the next one, into the breach. I'm not going to say, are you all right, mate? Because I've been insulted, so.
I didn't mean it. Oh, no. I know you always do. I just need to get it going. But yes, Jamie, there is new guys. Thank you for telling me as well that the echo is gone. But we're going to get started as well because we've got a lot to go through. And like I said, if you are new around here, please everyone make sure to hit like and subscribe for more. Going to start off then with the negatives, get them out the way. We're a positive group around here. We need to talk about all the positives, but we need to get the negatives out of the way before we get into that. And that's starting off with the injuries. I mean, we've got more injuries than we do for fit players at this point. Klopp has come out and given updates on a lot of the players. Not all of them. There's still a few that haven't been mentioned. There's a couple. Trent's not really been mentioned. There's a couple. So I'm going to go through them. We're going to go around one by one, just get a few thoughts. So according to Klopp, Nunez, Salah, and Szoboszlai are still touch and go. He's not sure if Thiago is going to play again this season or ever again for the club. Badge is now pain-free. Gravenberch is out for the next 2 games at least, and there's no improvement on Endo since the knock that he suffered in the Carabao Cup final. Sam, I'll go to you first. I mean, what do you make of all these injuries and of all those updates there? If you need any of them repeating, just let me know. But is there any sort of positive that you're taking from that update at all?
I was a little bit worried more about how far the bigger guys will be out. Looking at like Darwin, looking at Nunez, Salah, and the rest of the ones who were supposed to come early, because with the way the last game finished, if you looked at the likes of Luis Diaz and Endo, you could see that somehow, somewhere, these guys might be injured. So I needed somebody to come and fill up those places. So I'm a little bit happy that they're touch and going, they're coming back. I need Salah and Nunez to be back. Man City is around the corner, and we shouldn't be getting prepared for the City game, but should start already, getting 10 minutes, even 20 minutes in the game against Southampton to show that they're ready to go. So I just need the guys back, man, because what we did against Chelsea, of course, it was something special, but we cannot continue with that. We need our guys back, and I think it'll be very important that they come back. It'll be very, very
definitely
important.
Yeah, absolutely right. And you mentioned City there, actually. In City, I forget how close it is. It's like a week away, a week and a bit. The 10th of March, I think it is. So it's coming up quick. You've got a really good point by mentioning that we need to be focusing on that. I mean, Clem, get your thoughts on it as well. The injury news, any of those updates sort of stand out for you? As I say, if you need me to repeat any of them, let me know. But is there any there that you are sort of more worried about than you initially were, or more positively looking at than you initially were?
Yeah, I think a lot of people noticed Nunez and Salah on the cup final celebration. They look to be, like they could maybe give us 30 minutes, but I understand. I think the club's being more cautious. It looks like. I'm not sure if you mentioned Gravenberch, because obviously, yeah, he was unfortunate to not be able to see out the 120 or 90. And he's got a chance. You think with all the injuries and the depth we have, Gravenberch would have been able to get a run of games, but unfortunately, because of Casado and what happened, that's not the case. But yeah, look, if we can get one by one, if we can get a guy back one by one, I think we'll be okay in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But yeah, with City approaching, you're kind of wondering what kind of squad we can field, and of course Endo, McAllister to come out of the game. I'm sure we might talk about it, but I might rest them against Southampton.
Yeah, I mean, the Southampton game, like we all want to win it. Of course, there's all this talk of a quadruple, and it might be very soon. And we'll get on to that in a bit with our second topic. But there might be the game to sort of rest the players on. I mean, Dean, what do you think? Is that update? Same question. Is there any more positive or negative outlooks on any of the players from your perspective? And if so, like, should we be resting players for this Southampton game, given that? I know the league's the priority, but it's still the FA Cup. It's still important.
It's awkward, isn't it? Because on paper, you're looking and go, if we get any more injuries, we're already on the edge, aren't we? We're already on the cliff edge. And if we get any more, and it's like, well, we're kind of doomed in that sense. You can only feel so many youngsters before you start thinking, ee. But if we do win tomorrow, it's like, it pushes that derby back. I think that's a major benefit, to get some more lads back for that derby, because even if we manage to beat City, we manage to beat Forest, of course, and we've got that, if we still have that derby lined up at the end of the month, or towards the end of the month, you're still a bit nervy going in with only a couple more players coming back. You'd rather be more comfortable to have some more back later in the season. It will obviously be a chance for some of the youngsters to impress, because why not? They deserve the chance after the weekend. And I think we'll probably see at least 5 or 6, because it makes sense. I wouldn't rule out Holly McAllister getting 45 minutes, because he come off before the 90, didn't he? Against Chelsea,
yeah.
I think. Yeah. So I reckon he'll be in there for at least probably half a game, and then you might see Elliott drop in there for probably the second half. I don't know. You can guarantee that Clark and McConnell start. I'm sure that's nailed on. Kwanzaa, Simicast will probably start at left back. I assume Kelleher will start. I don't, under any circumstances, I don't want Adrian in goal. I think that's a given for anybody. I don't think anybody wants to see that. I won't be surprised if Bradley gets half a game. Gomez might even play centre back. We might even try that out for half a game, and then Gomez goes to right back again for the second half. I think the bench will be utilised heavily. I think the only area where we'll see unusual faces will be the front line, because you're going to see Dans, you might see Kumas, you might see Gordon, because he vanished off the face of the earth recently, even though you think he'd be on there as the youngster first, wouldn't you, really? Maybe the same, and maybe they're trying to get his fitness back slowly in the under-21s. It's an exciting game. It's a concern and exciting at the same time. It could be worse. We could be playing Newcastle away, and you just be kind of thrown in the towel a little bit. It's like, Luke, we don't want to risk it. Just let them have this one. I kind of made a bit of a deal with the Devil style on Sunday. I was like, I'd take winning Sunday over winning Wednesday. So if we do lose, do blame me. Post all your hate mail to me, because that wasn't my fault. But you've got to have faith in the lads, haven't you? You've got to have faith in the youngsters, because they did it on Sunday. So let's back them and support them again tomorrow, because they deserve it.
Well, Paul's just said, Dean, we have to protect Kelleher with Alisson out for a while. If Adrian can't play against Championship side, what's the point in having him? I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, I agree. I don't think... Yeah, I agree. I think Adrian... Kelleher, it should be the starter for it, personally, but Adrian's not for all that he gets stick, I don't think he's the worst keeper in the world. There's definitely worse number threes out there. Like Scott Carson is worse than Adrian, let's be honest. But I mean, Sam and Clem, actually, you're both sort of shaking your head at that. What? Just keeping on that topic really quick. What do you make of Adrian starting tomorrow?
You know what, Adrian, so many people talk about how terrible he was before we signed him. If you remember those years when we got him. But he came in and I think he's one who won us the Super Cup, if I remember, against Chelsea with what he did. So I don't know if I'm forgetting about, but he is actually one of the best goalkeepers. Number 3, it's his position. He is the best. Because at this moment, there was some time I actually felt like maybe he was just going to be like a goalkeeper coach or something at Liverpool, because they were not using him so much. So Alisson is out. And we know if we don't have our number 1, our number 2 has proven to be one of the best. And we need him to remain as the best, especially for the Premier League games that are coming so very quickly, like the ones that I'm talking about. Man City is the one that is in everyone's mind. Let us try by all means to give this guy game time, and I'm hoping that he doesn't do worse than, I had to remind people about this, but you remember what Real Madrid did to us when we were using carriers those days. So I'm hoping he will never do something better like that. So I just want him to come and prove us and at least do something. That's all we need, because we can't really keep putting so much pressure on Kelleher. This goalkeeper, we need him for the bigger games that are coming, is because we know that Alisson will be out for such a long time, and we need him to be the main man. And I think the rotation will be very important there. So I don't know. Let's hope that happens.
I mean, you talk about we need Kelleher coming up for the big games, but I mean, Clem, has Kelleher not sort of proven that he's there for the big games by winning 2 Carabao Cup finals, and he's been our Premier League goalkeeper since Alisson's been injured? I mean, is there not an argument to say he is the man for these big games? Like he doesn't have to. We don't necessarily have to drop him because he's been so good recently. If anything, it's more detrimental taking him out of that team to miss a game when we should be keeping his momentum going towards the Man City game.
Yeah, you make a great point, about that. I think he's definitely proven, as Klopp said, he's the best number 2 in the world, which is, it's a luxury that we haven't had for a while. And then we got to talk about Adrian, who, is not, given the fans a lot of confidence. But I feel like he's a player we should rely upon in this game. I do feel like Kelleher's earned the break with the shift that he put in. But if he's right to go, then it's sort of like, as your point saying that, who are we to sort of hold him back? If he's good to go, then a keeper's different. I look at the keeper as someone who can play 3 games a week. That's just me.
Nan, I'll keep it with you, Clem, for a second. I mean, is there a... What was that, sorry, sir?
I said the injuries that's the only problem we have. We don't want to get our only best keeper at the moment injured. So, and I don't think it'll affect him in terms of confidence when you think about it, because he has done it before. When he's called to action, he always delivers. So, I don't know.
I mean, I think when he came back into the team this season, it took him a few games to sort of get back to the level that we know he's good at, and that's just my concern. Is say we drop him for this next game or 2, it's not like he's gonna plummet off a cliff, but there's always that chance that he might then need another game or 2 just to warm back up into it. And I think that's sort of my concern with it. I mean, we sort of went into like a Southampton sort of thing, like a preview for tomorrow, and just to clarify for the injuries, so like just a repeat of some of them before. I mean, Thiago is not going to play. That's pretty much guaranteed. Nunez, Salah, and Szoboszlai are still touch and go, so there is a chance they might come off the bench if we are in a good position. I don't think we'd be doing it necessarily if we're chasing the game. Bajtic is now pain-free. There's not too much emphasis on that, but Dean, I know I think you said you're quite a big fan of Bajtic in the past. I mean, would this be the game to maybe not start him, but to bring him off the bench just to give him get him ran up in the team, a bit of a warm up?
I think to us fans we would say yes, but I think the club would be exceptionally careful, aren't they? Because they thought he was ready to go. Did he play a Europa game or something, or the
Yeah,
first
he
League Cup
played it
game for
right back.
45 minutes? And
Yeah.
it set him back for a long time. So I think they're going to be extra careful until the doctors and all that go, yeah, you're 100% ready to go to get 10, 15 minutes. I think he'll end up in like the under 23s or the under 21s, whatever it says, for a bit first. Thing to ease him back in and then go into the proper high level football. It just makes sense. I know at the moment we're screaming for extra players. We take anybody at the moment because we just need the numbers, but we're going to be extra careful because you don't want him to come back for 2-3 games and he'll be out for another 6 months. It'd be the ultimate blow for him and for us as well. Just to add to that point, Gravenberch's only got ruled out for 2 games, which is a real positive.
So he said Gravenberch is out for the next 2 games at least. So he
At
missed
least.
the Southampton game and the Nottingham Forest game.
They're just going to like take the time with him, aren't they? They're going to just wait and see how it goes, how he heals. Hopefully, he heals quite quick. But the fact that he's initially just ruled him out for the next 2 games makes me feel it's not severe. Whereas like Jones and all them, it was like, yeah, you're going to be out for a little while, at least for a few weeks. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'd be at least an option for the City game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big concern, and I don't know about you guys, like going into that cup final it wasn't so much the starting lineup, it was the fact that I was nervous there was nothing to bring off the bench. Even if there's someone who's like Gravenberch, for example, in that City game, just seeing him on the bench, I'd feel a lot more confident than I would with maybe one of the kids still, even after everything they've done. I mean, Clem, I'll go to you and then I'll go to you, Sam, with this. Like, I understand the injuries, I understand everything, but surely having these players who we saw Nunez leap the fence like after the cup final. I mean, is there not an argument, like you said before, that they could maybe be on the bench, and if we need them for the last 10 minutes, just to get them on, just warm up them legs, like Salah, Nunez, Szoboszlai, like is that something we should maybe consider?
Yeah, certainly for the league games. I'm all about prioritising winning the league as much as we can. With that said, I think Klopp, I think, as I said earlier, they're still playing it more cautious with Nunez, with Salah. I think they could definitely play an undetermined amount of minutes. I just think, and Klopp's always said it, he has so much faith in the young kids. And I think he was always willing to play them in that cup final. And I feel like with those other guys touch and go, he had full faith in the McConnells, the Bobby Clarks and that. But back to the league, I think that's a different story. I think, he's not going to maybe say it publicly, but Klopp leaving with a league title is going to be probably the dream farewell.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, like Sam, I agree with Clem there perfectly. I think the league title is the dream. We all think if Klopp's not lifting it in that last day at Anfield against Wolves, it's going to be a bit of a letdown for him, more so than us possibly. But do you agree with the sentiment that the kids are all right for the cup competition, Southampton, if we get round to the next round, but maybe in the Premier League, we do need to consider having these more experienced players who, yes, they're injured, but having the option on the bench, because they're the games that we really, really do need to win with regards to giving Klopp's fairy tale farewell.
Yeah, I think it's really, really important that we do have that, because if you notice how just having a player that you can look at, for example, let's just say Dominic was on the bench in that Chelsea game, even though it was just a cup game, it was going to bring fear to Chelsea more than the little kids that they were looking at, even though they did prove them wrong at the end of the day. But I'm saying that in the most important games, we know we are already at the top of the league, and we need to keep putting the much pressure. And I've always said this, I don't know, that if we could go to that Man City game and we are still at the top, I feel like there's an advantage. And because of the injuries, they're affecting us. Having those big players just back in the bench for the Nottingham Forest game, then the Man City, that for me, I think it's one that is very, very important. And for a fact, I actually believe that Salah, Nunez, and Szoboszlai were fit on the cup game, but Klopp decided that he didn't want to put them. He didn't want to risk them. So you could tell that he wants to use them more into these big games, because we need the Premier League at the end of the day. So I feel like them back on those like special. I'm looking at them and I want to see them appearing now in the Premier League game that is coming after the Southampton game, because I'm not really worried about the Southampton game, but the Premier League, that's all I want. And I believe every Liverpool fan wants the same thing.
Yeah, the next league game is Nottingham Forest at home. Is it home or away?
Away.
I can't remember the top of my head.
Away.
Is it away, Nottingham Forest? Right, so can't wait for that. But so yeah, that's the next game, and that's not an easy one, regardless of where they are in the table, regardless of the situation.
We lost to
It's
them
one of
last
those
season.
tricky grounds. Exactly. So it's it's one of those things. Keeping it then on the Southampton thing, Dean, we've spoke a lot about who's injured, who's not, who's in, who's out. What is the starting 11? I'm going to do this for everyone, so I'll go Dean, then Clem, then Sam. I want to get your starting 11 for tomorrow. It can be just whoever you want. We've seen the kids do well in the cup final. Maybe there's some of them in your team. Maybe you want to go a bit more experienced against the Southampton team, who are, let's face it, they're playing great football. They can pretty much beat anyone on their day at the moment. So who's starting for you?
All right, so I'm still gonna go Callum in goal. I think Bradley gets at least a half because he came off before the end of the game. Bradley, Gomez and Kwanzaa, centre back. Left back Tsimikas, McConnell, McAllister and Clark, because I think Mac will get half a game. Then I'm going to go Gakpo, Dans, and maybe Gordon. I'm thinking something like that. It's a bit of a blend, and then I think the bench will be utilised heavily. I think we're going to swap a lot because we've got 5 subs. That's what I'm going for.
I think that's a good shot, actually, because Diaz, in my head, I was like, oh, Diaz is going to start, but then I forgot he played like the full match, so we can't be rushed. At the moment, he's our prime attacker. So, Clem, same thing for you, starting 11 for the game tomorrow?
Yeah, I think Dino hit it for me. Maybe Elliot might be able to start, and then he gets subbed off for Gordon. But I think, Gakpo has to probably take on more of the minutes up front. Dan's has looked really impressive. And I see Paul's got a good question in the chat about who has some of the highest upside. Dan's has been really impressive. Apparently he's grown the most in terms of physically. He was 5'2" not long ago, and then he's jumped up to 6'1". But I think at the back, I think Kwanzaa, Gomez, Bradley might be the more questionable one. They might be saving him for the league. Klopp did reference that he's played a lot of minutes. He's played, I think, 3 games in 8 days. I think Tsimikas deserves the start as well. But in the midfield, that's probably the hardest to pick out of Endo. It wouldn't surprise me if Endo just shows up and puts in a 45, and then McAllister comes on. But I think Bobby Clark and McConnell you'll probably see their name on the first team sheet.
I mean, it is a weird one, and like you said, and Sam, this will go to your one actually. So I want to get your starting 11, but also Clem makes a good point there, because the fitness of some of these players is otherworldly compared to what we've seen. Like Endo, I think, went on a big stretch if he started like 8 games in a row and played the full 90 minutes, and he was like the first player to do it in such and such. I can't quite remember the stat, but he was playing a lot of games. Like, is there any surprises that we could see tomorrow that maybe no one's expecting? Where's your name in your starting 11?
I don't know. I heard a little rumor on Twitter that maybe Nunez might make his first debut, the young kid, the 16-year-old. So you might be surprised that you might find that one in the midfield. But in terms of my starting lineup, I would start Adrian. Then on the other side, rather than to put Bradley, I'm actually going to put Gomez there. Then we have Konza and I think Konate, by the way. I think Konate could be in this game. Then Tsimikas on the left. In the midfield, I believe McAllister might actually get into the game, because that's the reason why Klopp had to take him out, so that he becomes the main man in terms of the midfield, alongside maybe that Nuni kid. Then I think they'll put Clark just alongside those 3. Then up front, I'm expecting Gakpo to be the main man. And I'm not really sure, about Harvey, but I think he might start because I think he played the whole entire game, if I'm not mistaken, on the Chelsea game. But he might be there. We might see also Harvey Elliott. Then in the midfield, I think it's going to be Dance. That's the team that I think will be playing against Southampton.
I think Elliott's an interesting one that you've all brought up, because Elliott, for me, I think he's better as a midfielder. I don't think as a winger it particularly suits him. He seems better when he drops in deep, comes inverted, and he's able to put those balls across. He's not too good when he's trying to get to the byline. So I think if he was going to play tomorrow, he should be in midfield, but there is a lack of depth there at the moment. We don't really have... Okay, Gordon, you mentioned before, Dean, he's one who could be there, but we don't really know. I'm a bit shocked that he wasn't involved in the Cup final at all, considering all the praise around him. Paul comments, would you drop Gakpo to midfield? I personally, no. Dean, I'll get your thought on that one. I'm not a big... I'll say how I think. I think Gakpo was pretty bad for a lot of that final at points. I don't think he really contributed too much. I might be a bit wrong, but hey ho. I think in midfield it limits what he can do creatively, technically. I just don't think he looks as good. I mean, what's your thoughts on him in the midfield role?
In theory, it makes sense because how well he can drop into midfield when he's up front. It makes sense, but that's only on paper. He's a strange one, Gakpo. I admire him. I think he's still a good player, and I think he'll be around for a very long time. But in the final, he was required to be a presence in the box, and at most time we got to a crossing position, he wasn't in the box, and it's like we need someone in there. That's why Dan's was more effective in that last 20 minutes of the extra time, because he was a presence. He used his body well. I think Klopp's kind of ruled out the experiment, and to say something about Gakpo being midfield kind of not worked he thought it might have done. It could still happen, especially with the injury situation. It could be a horses for courses, especially against Southampton. You'd expect Gakpo to run that midfield in theory. But I think because the lack of options up front, you'd start him up front, and whether it's on the left or centrally.
Yeah, I think the Gakpo experiment was just a sort of... We've got depth in that area of the pitch now. There's no need to try and reinvent Gakpo into something he's not. I think as a false nine, he does the job well. He just has... He's one of those players who we can have 2 or 3 bad games or sort of anonymous games, and then he has one really, really good game, and it reminds you just how quality he can be. Jamie just said Endo could hardly walk from fatigue after 120 minutes. Yeah, I completely agree. I doubt he'll play against Southampton. Not entirely sure who'd be in the starting squad, but hey, if we've got 1 million players now. The LFC Academy apparently has £300 million worth of players currently, which is trying to work that out in my head, but I don't quite know if that's an actual... If that's an actual fact, if someone can send me that, that'd be great.
There was a piece on it, wasn't there? Was it the Athletic? The Athletic come out said the Liverpool reckon there will be £300 million plus talents that are currently in the academy. Yeah.
Well, maybe they considering Kelleher's increased potential transfer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's it. Yeah, because I've done this Bradley now. His price is going to have quadrupled since he started. So yeah, maybe actually, you're not wrong. So we're going to keep it. So we've mentioned Southampton. We're going to move on really to a different topic, and then maybe come back to the Southampton one actually, because it is quite interesting. Klopp's. Well, I say it's Klopp's. It's meant to be Liverpool's, but apparently there's talk of a bus parade end of season 1. This is only going to be quick because I don't think there's a huge amount to discuss on it, but apparently talks are in the preliminary stages of Liverpool having a post-season open-top bus parade. We remember 2 seasons ago. Remember when we won the Champions League? We couldn't do it after we won the Premier League because COVID and, all that, masks and distance, malarkey, all that. So there's talk of another one. But the primary target of it is to celebrate Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool career. And now that we have a trophy, there's not an excuse, but there's more reason to do it, and there's a chance of us winning more. I mean, Sam, get your thoughts on this. What do you make of this open-top bus tour? Not for the League Cup as such, because I think that's a bit overkill for a League Cup, but for Klopp as a celebration of his time at the club?
I actually think all of us can agree here when we say that Klopp is now a legend of Liverpool. So the fact that he was able to tell us this, and I think they sort out a deal with of making like a documentary of his last year at Liverpool. So I think it could be part of that, as well as just try to give us, to give him that. What can I say? That we want to say goodbye to him in the way we know how, as Liverpool fans. And I think the open bus parade is the best thing that us as Liverpool fans can show our love or pour our love to him, because he was not even able to celebrate the biggest trophy that we needed after 30 years because of COVID. And I feel like because he's leaving, if they're able to put all the trophies and everything that he has achieved and just thank him for what he did to us, I think it will be an amazing. So I'm really for it, and I believe it's going to happen because I think it deserves it. Whether we win only the Carabao Cup that we have or we're going to win the quad, I'm all for it because I think it really do deserve it.
Yeah. And I mean, Clem, I'll go to you with this one. And Sam's absolutely right. I think he's absolutely spot on. I think we're in an interesting position because very few times does a manager get to do what Klopp's done for us and then announce ahead of time that he's going to be leaving so that there's actually a chance for us to show appreciation. We didn't get to do that with Benitez. We didn't get to do that. Like, the last time I can recall it happening with Liverpool was Bob Paisley or Bill Shankly, like when they said, I'm leaving at the end of the season, and it got to be celebrated. Every other manager since then really has been sacked or it's been quick. We have a chance now to actually show appreciation. So is that something that we need to... Is this a good idea in terms of us being able to express appreciation for Klopp?
Yeah, I think that's big, in terms of the fan base being able to just be a part of that celebration and being really inclusive. But the biggest point I'll add is I think I'm expecting to win more trophies. So I think if we win the league, which I'm hoping we do, I think that's going to be a given, that there would be an open top parade. And like Sam said, we never got to do that before during COVID. So yeah, I like the idea when I first heard of it. How many managers, guys, get to leave on their own terms as well? Most managers get sacked. Most managers that leave either leave to go to another club or they retire. But Klopp's kind of doing neither right now. He's just taking a break. So, and then Sam also mentioned the documentary that might add to that as well, as we start to find out more as the weeks go by.
Yeah, I mean, like the two in modern memory that sort of spring to me are Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson. They announced ahead of time they were leaving, and they got celebrated at the stadium final days of the season. But it's Liverpool. We always like to go the extra mile and put that work in, and Klopp, there's a good comment from Jay Muse. Klopp saying that he doesn't want it. That's the one part that's not too cool for me. I don't think that makes sense. Besides that, I'm a big supporter of trophy parades. I mean, if we win trophies, he doesn't really get much of a say. Sorry, Klopp. I mean, look, if he doesn't want it to be all about him, I get that. I'm the same. Like, if I'm leaving somewhere, I don't want all the attention on me. I just want to be like, okay, I'm done, bye. But if we win trophies, we can sort of mask it as we're there to celebrate us winning the cups. Oh, Klopp's going, and it can be a thing about him. Dean, just thoughts on it before we move on. Like, what do you think of the parade? And like we mentioned before, the documentary. Like, does this all just tie in perfectly for Klopp's final push as our manager?
I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's the perfect idea. It epitomises our support for him. He always turns around and makes it about the team. It's never about him. Well, that would be about him. This man has drove me and other grown men to tears by announcing he's leaving. I've not ever done that for every other manager. What he's done for the city, what he's done for the club, what he's done for all the supporters, it's immense, isn't it? Let's be brutally honest. That last game of the season, tickets are going for £15,000 on resale. Now, Lou, if you had £15,000 chilling in your back pocket going spare, you would be spending that and going to see and say bye to them if there wasn't going to be a parade. Of course you would. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people who want to say thank you and goodbye to him because there's only going to be 60,000 people at the stadium. the club need to make that a reality and let everybody's be able to say goodbye to him. He's a unique man and he needs a unique send off. Yes, it'd be nice to have more trophies and give us the reason to send him off like on a trophy parade. Because, like I say, you'll make it about the team, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, for that, even if it's just for that couple of hours, he deserves all the attention. He deserves all the applause because he'll go down as one of the best managers in Liverpool history, and he's certainly the best manager in Premier League history for us. And like I say, he deserves all of us deserve to say thank yous for him. Basically, he deserves the admiration.
I completely agree. I think it's the perfect. You hit the nail on the head saying it's not a good idea. It's the perfect idea. Whether Klopp likes it or not, he's had such an impact on us that we have to celebrate it. We have to make sure that he gets the right send off. And one thing that the players, what they can do is win the trophies. What we can do is show our support the way that we know best, and that's we won a League Cup and an FA Cup 2 years ago, and it looked like Glastonbury, like that. The place was rammed. So for Klopp's final season with a chance of 4 trophies would be unbelievable. Isti says falsely, Arsenal sacked Arsene Wenger end the season because the fans turned on him. The fans did turn on him because he stuck around, but he announced ahead of time that he was going to be leaving at the end of the season. So when it was the last day, they were able to give him the farewell. It wasn't like they just went, Wenger's gone, bye. So that's what I mean. That's what I was trying to get at. Klopp deserves more than Friedman's City. Go on, Sam.
One point, I wanted to say something we can all agree to this, that Klopp was no longer only the Liverpool manager, he had become like a pillar to this Liverpool as a community. And we can all agree that Anfield, as much as we love our home, it's not enough for the whole entire fan base to show their love to this man. And I feel like Liverpool are looking at this, the club, they're looking at this and say that this will be the best thing that we can do to this man. Because we all know that this man is selfless. He doesn't want anything to ever be about him. Whenever something goes wrong, it's about him. But if it's not, if there's praise, he wants it to be the players. So I feel like this is something that Liverpool as a club, they've decided that let Klopp understand that as he leaves, this city will always remember him as the special one, the one who made all these memories for us, So I believe they want to give him that last send-off that will remain in his heart forever and ever. So that's what I just think. It's just to respect him as the pillar of the community more than actually being a Liverpool manager, because he is for us.
I think this is why there's no manager is going to be announced until after Klopp's left, to sort of let him have his time as the boss, and then when he goes, that's when the new manager will get announced. Klopp is, I've always said, and especially recently, if you were to describe Liverpool as a person, it would be him. Like, people will say, Gerrard, people will say Carragher, people will say also there's a million examples. It's Klopp, because he acts like us, he's passionate like us, he cares like us, and he's put the work in. And I think the fact that he's leaving, not because he wants to, but because he knows he can't give 100%, shows that he has such respect for the club. Whereas most people, like we mentioned Arsene Wenger, will just keep plodding along because it's not easy for them, but it's, oh yeah, I'm a manager here, I love the club. But you can see they're on the decline. Klopp's leaving us in a great position. And with all these kids coming through as well, I see absolutely no reason that can't be. We shouldn't be praising him for that. Paul said the bus is going to have a triple decker for all the childminders who'll be looking after the kids. Yeah, I think that's great. He's a man of the people and has brought more than just lifetime memories, 100%. Yeah, we all love Klopp, and I hope this parade happens. I think it will. We're going to go back a little bit then to Southampton, because you've all opened up my eyes. I didn't even mention Southampton in the pre-match things. We've still got one more topic which we can go back to in a bit, but just, Clem, I want to go to you first for this. What are you expecting from Southampton tomorrow? I understand that they're a championship team. I understand, that we're at home, but what should we be prepared for against this Southampton team, who probably going to be in the Premier League next season?
Yeah, well, as you said, it's going to be a case of I think the excitement and the euphoria of winning the League Cup might give the team a boost. There's nothing like winning, that winning feeling, and you want to continue that. And I think the kids now, and people mentioned Trey Nyoni, who's an academy kid and a kid who supported the team growing up. He's been super chomping at the bit to make his debut. He's been posting stuff and he's seen all these academy graduates get game time. So I think, the kids are going to be buoyed by extra minutes, but it's going to be a bigger challenge. I think with respect to Chelsea, I think Southampton's going to go for the game. I think they're going to try to put some goals past us. As we know, Chelsea sat back in that extra time, allowed the kids to sort of play on the ball a little bit. So that's why I do think he's going to sprinkle in a couple of experienced players. We just remain to be seen which ones it's going to be. But I haven't watched a lot of Southampton in terms of their play this season. Maybe Sam and Dean have seen a little bit more.
At the time of this, Southampton are 4th in the Championship. They're on 67 points, and the next team beneath them is West Brom, who are on 56. They've won 20 games. They've scored 65 goals, but they've also conceded 42, which is the second highest amount of the top 7. They're a team that go for it. They're very much an attacking side under this new manager, and they've still got very good players in that squad. I mean, Dean, have you seen any of Southampton? And we saw Leicester earlier this season have a real go at us at Anfield. Could we see that again with Southampton?
Yeah, I think they will have a go. It's a strange one because they went on a 22, 23 match unbeaten run. It was a club record for it. They were fantastic. The last 3 games, I think, they've lost. Well, they've lost the last 2, I think.
Yes. They've lost 3 in their last 5.
That's it. Yeah, they kind of dipped a little bit. I know the manager's come out and complained about they've played 7 games in a short spell, something like that. 5 and 7. I can't remember exactly what it was. They played quite a few games. I know 7 games this month. That's what it was. So you can see rotation happening from their points of view. But you have to bear in mind, this is a trip to Anfield. Every player, doesn't matter who you are, whether you're playing in League 2 or you're playing in the Champions League regularly, you want to play at Anfield. It's one of the best stadiums in the world. So they'll grab the occasion with both hands. Doesn't matter who's on that pitch. So it will be a challenge. And like I say, with the expected youngsters on the pitch, it's going to be a challenge to them. They play a very attacking football, as you mentioned. They are very susceptible at the back. A bit like Norwich, but a bit better, obviously. And so expect a lot of goals in the game. I do expect a front-footed game from both sides. So it's going to be definitely interesting. Is the manager, is it Russell Martin?
Yes, I believe so. Let me just.
It's very big on attack. I think it's Russell Martin.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. I'm very unprepared today.
No, you're right.
Yeah, let's just. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he managed Swansea before, and he's very big on attacking football. So, like I say, it's going to be full of goals. It's a bigger challenge for the kids than arguably Chelsea in a sense. I know on paper you go in a minute, that doesn't make sense. But I say Southampton will, even though they might not want this game at this time, it's still happening. So they'll go for it. And you're going to have more youngsters on the side than experience. So that's what makes the challenge even harder. But I'm sure the fans will be behind the team, and I'm sure they'll go for it. The only other thing is, Klopp would have sat there forgetting that it's nearly the quarterfinals, and he'll go, part of me wants to start this off and just focus on everything else. But you think so, 2 games for Wembley. You are 2 games for Wembley again. And he loved it on Sunday. You could see it in his eyes. He'll want that again. So he'll put faith in the team he puts out to go and win, because he wants to go back and he wants to go and win something again.
Well, I think it's just before I go on to you, Sam, really quick. I mean, we saw Pep come out today and say that when he came to England, the Carabao Cup final was viewed as sort of just pouring it off. We're not interested. Apparently Sir Alex said it. All the other managers were saying, yeah, it's not important. And now it's such a big event. like for teams to not want to be in those cup finals is just ludicrous. So I agree with you. I think Klopp looked at that and went, "Yeah, we need to come back here." FA Cup finals as well are something that's special, like they're top tier. There's people saying that Southampton might not play a first 11 as they're fighting to get into the Prem. I could see the argument for that, definitely. Only thing that's making me think they might not is, how much rotation do they have? And also, if they get through to the next round, say they go to Man City away or something like that, that's going to be money in the kitty for them. That's money they can use to invest in the squad for next season, should they come up or should they stay in the Championship. So, there's a lot of factors, and winning the FA Cup as well, or at least going far in the competition. Bradford reached the League Cup final, I think it was like 2013, and they were in League Two, and it's a big story. So, there can be benefits for doing it. Of course, they want to win the cup, but there's money involved. There's a lot of different factors, so I can see both sides. Sam, what are you expecting tomorrow? Are you expecting a sort of Liverpool blow them out the water, as we've seen many times this season, or do you think it could be a bit more like the Chelsea game, where it's a bit more standoffish, depending who plays, depends how we do kind of performance?
I actually think it's going to be a little bit challenging, because what I'm thinking is there's people who are saying that they won't play their first 11. I believe they want to test themselves with the best. So who is the best that they're going to be facing, that they're meeting? It's Liverpool. If they're able to win against this one, they will know that their team is ready to try and compete in the Premier League with some of the teams that they'll meet up when they come to the league. So they'll really want to challenge us and try to see how far they've gone as a team and how far they can go. And as well, there's money that is coming in as well. So that's another bonus on top. So as much as we are talking about the youngsters playing and whatever that will be happening, they have to be ready for a fight, because these guys are not going to be like Chelsea, who are going to be waiting and hoping that they're going to attack. These guys are going to be putting it on us, like what Leicester did to us in the Carabao Cup when we were playing with them. So they need to be ready, because I'm sure Southampton will really challenge us. So it's going to be an interesting game, I'm telling you, buddy. It's going to need us to play, to be really ready for the challenge that the Southampton squad will put us into. So I don't know.
Yeah, this is like Southampton's acid test, sort of like if they can beat us or get a result, then they know they're ready to come up to the Premier League. And like I said, they're in fourth, they're in the playoff zones. So here's, see what goes on there. Everyone, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. We're still going. I've got another topic actually lined up, because one of the fantastic people leaving comments, thank you very much for doing so, has mentioned Bayern want Robbo this summer to replace Davies. Bayern can suck it, as far as I'm concerned. Bayern are not getting Robbo. I don't care. They can. There's other players they can go to. Yeah, I agree. Bayern can kick rocks. Yeah. No, you can swivel, not happening. So yeah, that's apparently a thing, but I suppose we'll delve into that. Clem, I'll go to you with this one. I suppose I'd say it's out there, but Jamie says 31 years old. Would you take 35 to 40 million for him? Robertson to Bayern, is that a possibility, depending who the next manager is who comes in?
Yeah, you certainly got to. I'm not sure his contract situation, but you certainly got to look at the future, not just Robbo specifically, but there's a lot of talent, in the full back spots, and I think the central to that question is Trent, Trent, Gomez, Bradley's emergence, but yeah, Robbo, it's kind of been a forgotten man at some points this season, missing, so many games, and with those dreaded internationals, and I think Robbo, his play's been really solid recently. I would expect he's still got a few good years in him, and we need some experienced leadership still. We don't know with the contract situation with Van Dijk and and some of the other guys. I think what an underrated element in terms of why Liverpool can continue to win depleted and Klopp's impact is we do have a lot of leaders on the pitch. Virgil's recently stepped in to being the captain, but Robbo's been in that dressing room for a long time, and it's players like that they can keep the guys together as well, and he relates to the young kids, and he's also he bleeds red, so it's tough, but if we do sell him, Please not to the Premier League, just somewhere else.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I mean, Dean, I think that last bit's actually perfect. If Robertson is going to go, he needs to go the route that we thought Kyle Walker was going to go, where Bayern just seemed to be the option for him as he was sort of winding down his career, nice and not relaxing, but you're pretty much going to you're guaranteed to win a trophy pretty much every season unless you're Thomas Tuchel and Harry Kane. Sorry, but the options there. What do you make of the Robertson links? And just before you answer it, we spoke earlier this season how Robertson was having not a poor season, but he just wasn't up to his standards. Is it maybe time to consider cashing in on him?
First of all, is he really 31? Genuinely?
I'm sure he's up there. I don't think he's 31.
I know he's not far off. If not, that's mental.
He's 29.
That's 29. Right, he's in his prime then, really. Still. Physical prime, anyway. I do think Robertson's minutes will start to drop next season. I don't think he'll be playing every game because he has played so much football for us and high-intensity football at that. Obviously, we don't know what the new manager, don't know the system, loads of question marks. I think, if anything, Tsimikas might be looking to move on just because Gomez is a good backup left back. In all honesty, yes, I know if we play wing backs, we'll need left footers. But I assume Tsimikas will probably consider, I want a bit more game time. Like I say, there's loads of question marks. They can have Tsimikas for 30 million if they want. Multi-cup winner. Something that a striker doesn't have. But yeah, I'd keep Robertson because he's such an influence on the dressing room, and I don't think he'd be dead against, as he gets older, dropping to be second choice or rotating. So I'd rather keep him. We're losing a leader in the dressing room already and the manager. I don't want to lose too many others. So for at least this next season, keep him around. Bayern can keep the money. They make bad decisions anyway. So just, I'll keep him. Thank you.
I'm in the same boat. Go on, Sam.
But also, when you think about it, what does he want, Robertson? Because for what he has done for the team, he's a legend for the club, and what he has given us as a team. You would think about, for example, what Sadio Mane did just a few years back. We wanted him to stay, but he wanted to go. But we had to respect that. But at this moment, watching what Robertson is doing, even in some of the videos we watch from LFC, it doesn't look like he wants to leave the team. So as for us as the Liverpool fans and the team, I don't think we are for this idea of buying money coming to get him. But also, I think if he himself comes out and says that he wants to leave, then we have to go. We have to respect that. But I don't think he will be that kind of a guy who come and say that he wants to leave the club. So they're just dreaming, Bayern Munich. So in terms of them trying to convince the club, that will never work. It will only happen if the player himself says he wants to leave, because we respect him that much to actually listen to what he says. But over to what we think as the Liverpool fans, we're saying they're wasting their time because we don't want to lose him, you see.
No, I don't want to lose. I adore Andrew Robertson. I think he's just the ultimate shithouse. I'm sorry, he's so good at what he does.
That's what we love
what he
about
does
him.
Is just, yeah, exactly. He winds everyone up, and I absolutely love him. He's the vocal leader on that pitch, and that's fine. And Robertson might be like, there's people saying, getting eight Nori as a replacement, 40 million for eight Nori. Eight Nori, it depends who the manager is. If Alonso's coming in, I think eight Nori would be really, really good. If it's the name's gone ahead, Ruben Amorim, I don't think he'd be as good. It just depends who the manager is. So all the transfer talk, I think that's something that's probably going to end up on the back burner. But we're going to move on to the last topic because we haven't got too long left, guys. Before we do, just everyone please make sure to hit like and subscribe for more content. 7:30 p.m. streams every single day, UK time. We're going to go to Pep Ljinders. So I'll go to you, Dean, and then you, Clem, and then you, Sam, to round it up. Pep Ljinders apparently linked to the Ajax job. I mean, there was talks, people were saying, he could stay, he could be the next manager, but he said he's leaving with Klopp out of, respect. It's time for a new thing for him. Is Ajax a good job for him? Not a first managerial role per se, but it's is it a good step?
I think it's the perfect step, in all honesty. It's a league that thrives on playing good football, and across a lot of the clubs, it's a rebuild job because they're in a right mess this season. The midfield's obviously not great with Henderson in there. It's a good step. It's not a lot of it's pressure enough because it's a big club. It's Ajax, but it's not going into a team that's already has to challenge, has to win things every season. And he'll be given time. He's got a world-class academy, probably the best academy in the world alongside ours to work with. And if you're Ajax, you're going, I wish I could have Jurgen Klopp as our manager. And you go, wait a minute. Well, we could have some of his knowledge. We could have someone who's worked with him. We could have someone who knows bits and bobs what he can do. So let's have the next best thing. Let's have his assistants. And I think that's perfect for all parties. I want him to do well in his career. And I hope he does. And I think that'll be an absolutely brilliant move for all, both of them.
I mean, it's not out the realm of possibility that Ljinders goes to Ajax, goes to a few clubs, and then in the future he could be back. We don't know. We just don't know. Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, Clem, thoughts on it? Pep Ljinders to Ajax. Has anyone read his book, by the way? Because it's brilliant. Like, he's got such an intelligent mind for management. I mean, Clem, what do you think of him going to Ajax? Is this a good move for him? Is this a good move for the club? Like, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, I have the highest respect, obviously, for Pep as well, and I think Dino hit the nail in terms of if Klopp's out of the game and he's not a manager or active at the moment, what's the next best thing, that clubs will be looking at, and having a guy that's been alongside him for this long and being able to apply that knowledge and as you said, the rebuild situation, I think it would be a perfect situation for Pep. Another element we have to consider is, assumingly he's known as long as Klopp's known, and he knew when the project was going to end, back in November as well. So he's had probably time to source and, think about different jobs as well. And I think this is one with a league where he'll be more comfortable sort of starting his senior manager career and with good expectations as well. But coming in where you could be seen as where your stock can go up, if you can restore Ajax back to where they want to be, I think that's just really going to elevate his his stock.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think this is such a great opportunity for him if it is something that is gonna take place. Apparently, it's either he's going to be the manager or he's going to be the assistant manager to Frank de Boer. Frank de Boer, we all know him, Crystal Palace manager for 4 games, 0 wins, 0 goals scored, sacked. So, I think we know who's the better choice, really. I mean, Sam, get your final thoughts on it. Like, Pep to Ajax, does this make sense? Is this the best move for him? And just what does he have to offer this Ajax team?
I don't know if we have ever thought of this way. Don't you think that this is Henderson trying by all means to get somebody that he's saying to the club he trusts? Because it seems like they worship Henderson and that's at Ajax, the way things are looking like at the moment. So don't you think he's the one who's playing a bigger role, saying that if you want a manager who can build this, go for Pep Ljinders. You can get somebody. I've worked with him at Liverpool for such a long time. I know what kind of a person he is and how much you will help this team to become great. And because if we have been listening to how Klopp talks about him, it seems like he had reached a point where he would trust him with even the management of however the games were going to be arranged and whatever that was happening. So I do believe that maybe because Henderson was seeing this and it seems like he's loved the way he is running at Ajax, he's saying that get this man and I'm telling you what you are seeing at Liverpool will actually become something that you will be seeing at Ajax. So I feel like maybe Henderson is playing super agent, but as well, I think because this guy told us that if Klopp is done and he's moving on to his next stage, the only stage he's going to is management. And he's saying he's not going to start it at Liverpool, he's going to try to do it elsewhere. And when he's proven, maybe he'll come in some years. So I do believe that this has Henderson in terms of the deal, if it is happening. And as well, I believe this will be a big opportunity for him to show how much he is. And maybe we'll get to see more of his character, you know what Klopp is. Maybe we were able to see what he is as well. So I think it's a good thing for him, and I think he will really succeed at Ajax.
I agree. I have no reason to think that Pep wouldn't survive at Ajax or do really, really well. It's a club in transition. Pep Ljinders seems like the perfect manager to have in transition. Give him a long-term project, young kids who are going to be able to develop to his plan. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work. And that is it. That is actually our hour. That was perfectly timed. I love that. Thank you very much. Everyone, please make sure to hit like and subscribe for more content. Make sure you go check out the latest expert analysis episode I did with Chris Pajak from Redmen TV. It was really, really fun, really enjoyable chat. Make sure you tune in every single day, 7:30 p.m. UK times. Yes, Jamie says, you'll never walk alone. Everyone, cheers, Sam and Clem, on your debuts. I think you did very well, actually, as well. So if everyone could get some love in the chat for Sam and Clem, who did fantastic on their first ever stream, that'd be really appreciated. But for myself, Dino, Clem, and Sam, thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and we will see you all in the next stream.